Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Be Libre, another every other day vlog with Andy, with Be Libre, to be exact. So today we're going to talk about value transfer, value, store of value. And I bring this up because I believe yesterday or a few days ago, the current government administration of the U.S. decided to go further into debt, pull money out of thin air, basically, pull money that they didn't have in order to spend. This is because they chose to take less taxes from the people, which in some ways, cool, we appreciate that, but in other ways, well, how is this system going to function without money? And I asked that question because it doesn't make any sense to just will money out of thin air in order to get stuff done. What I mean by that is that you don't want to necessarily pull out value from out of nowhere. So you have to take value from one thing and then move it to something else. In other words, if you're going to build a house, you have to build it on bricks. You have to use actual physical, tangible objects in order to first create the foundation and then create the scaffolding and the skeleton to the house, and then build, lay the bricks and lay the insulation, everything that makes the house a house. You need to actually use valuable objects that are good for building a house. Telling somebody that you're going to build a house out of hay is, if anybody has read the Three Pigs, you know how that ends. It's very a house made out of hay is very flimsy. There's not much to it, and it quickly comes tumbling down. Honestly, I think that's where we're headed, unfortunately, at least with our current money system, with the dollar. The dollar needs to be backed by something, and you don't back it by debt. Debt is a terrible means of running an economy, of running a civilization. You want to run a civilization. You want a civilization to spend wisely. We have finite resources. Of course, money should be finite, but another thing that is definitely finite, I don't know if many of you know, but if you want to get into debt with a bank, the way that the government's getting into debt, you merely tell them that you wish to get a loan, and they will wire you money. And what that looks like is, it's not physical paper that you're getting. You don't get like stacks and stacks of thousands of dollars put into your bank account in the vault. All they do is they plug a few numbers and it's done. Digitally speaking, it's all done digitally. Digitally. There you go. They put a balance. They credit you the funds, and then you owe them that much with interest, of course. But all that's happened is they plugged in a few numbers in the computer, and now you have money out of thin air. That's fractional reserve banking. This is what banks have been doing for the last, I don't know if it's century? No. I'm going to be conservative and say the last 20 to 30 years is what banks have been doing, is running on reserve. Because before, around the 70s, the dollar was tethered to gold. So you didn't want to necessarily print more dollars than we had gold. Nixon put an end to that. If it was hubris that the dollar would never lose value because our governors had forgotten what risky, how flimsy, how weak, how easily destroyed an economy could be when you debase the currency. And this has happened many times before with many different currencies. Venezuela's going through it right now. Zimbabwe went through it. Brazil had gone through it at one point. Argentina, I know at least Greece went through it as well. Many of these countries, their governments decided to print more money than they should have. And that sounds very simplistic, like if you print money it's a problem, and it is. It definitely is a problem. When let's say, for example, you've been earning $10 an hour. Let's say let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Say you're earning more than that. So $20 an hour. You have $100. You should not be expecting that to go down in value anytime soon. But because of the way governments debase currencies over time, that money is worth less. Most of you listening, those of you into Bitcoin probably know that you probably understand the concept of inflation. Mainstream media likes to portray the concept of inflation as just this mystical thing that happens. You can't stop it. It just happens, and you can't explain it. Inflation's gonna happen whether you like it or not. Deal with it. And that's not right. And that's not how a society should be organized. We should not be debasing each other's hard work. Basically, what you're doing is eating into each other's time without consent. Every time they decide to debase the dollar, anybody that's earning dollars is actually losing value on that. But the sad truth is, I don't think many people understand that reality. I don't think many people understand that their dollars, while they want to save their dollars, and that's great and all, and saving is better than not saving, right, in most cases, unless you need something, unless there's a necessity you need. But usually, people will just keep their savings in dollars. It is the most liquid, it is the quickest to spend, but unfortunately, the dollar loses value every year. So one of the things that I realized as I was getting older, right before I got into Bitcoin, was okay, let's put these dollars into something else that isn't going to lose value. Everyone I think is smarter than me is telling me, Andy, just put your money into something else that doesn't lose value. And I'm like, shit, okay, all right, fine. Let's put it into stocks. Turns out that to buy one stock, I had to drop $200 if it was a decent stock. I know that there are cheaper stocks out there. I know there's Ford. So some of these stocks that have had that have been not halved. There's a word for it where the stock pretty much breaks into more units. Stock splitting? Yeah, I think it's a stock split. And then you have more units of stock that are worth the same, but there's more units, so they're cheaper. You can buy one unit for less, but it's still the same market cap of the company. Anyway, when I realized I didn't have the money to put into a decent amount of stocks, I found out about Bitcoin, and that's where I fell down the rabbit hole. Been here ever since. It's been amazing. Bitcoin really is a money of the future, I think. You can't change how many Bitcoins there are, guys. 21 million Bitcoins there will ever be. No more, no less. Of course, some people might lose their Bitcoins, and then of course that causes your Bitcoins to be worth more because the Bitcoins that were supposed to be in existence are just lost. There's a Tone Vays is an economist, or let's call him a trader. I'll say he's an economist because I think he understands economics pretty well. It really sounds like he does. We did have him on the podcast a couple years ago, I think 2 years ago or more. Wow, time has really flown. We should get him on again. But he was great, and he had an idea that we should dip into whatever Bitcoins might be lost. But he says that. I don't... Maybe he knows what that implies. I don't like what that implies because that's assuming that somebody lost their Bitcoins. What if they just don't want to spend them? Do you arbitrarily just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo? All right, this account right here, money hasn't moved in 2 years, but we're gonna assume this guy hasn't moved his Bitcoins. What if he's just holding it? What if he just thinks I want to use it for my kids' college, for their education, and they're only 1 year old? Would you be eliminating that person's money? Would you be stealing that person's Bitcoins just because you think that they didn't lost them or lost their private keys? It's a slippery slope. I wouldn't go down that route. I don't think many people would go down that route. So I think our 21 million cap Bitcoin is safe. I think your Bitcoins are safe as long as you have your private keys. Please invest in a Trezor or invest in a Ledger KeepKey because they are invaluable. I've been saved so many times just from. It's easier to protect your Bitcoins. It's easier to protect your altcoins as well. Through my Ether wallet, which Trezor works with. It's saved me so many headaches, guys. Please invest in a hardware wallet. Please like if you like. Please share with your friends and subscribe. Until next time, see ya.